He is Steve Smith. How are you, Steve?
I'm doing good. Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. What'd you make of Game 1 of the finals last night?
Well, you look at the Warriors, what is mind-boggling is Steph Curry, and I think late in the fourth quarter, neither guy was in double figure, and they had the game in control. It's just a treat to watch the way they play. It's totally a team effort, Rich. And as you know, being around this game and watching, usually during the finals, playoffs, coaches tend to tighten their rotation. Steve Kerr is opening up his rotation. I mean, he's playing 10, 11 guys, and to have a 45-10 advantage from the bench, Sean Livingston and Barbosa was fantastic.
Yeah, in terms of tightening a rotation, the Cavs last night, Channing Frye seemed nailed to the bench, and he was such a crucial member of this team over the last three series, making threes like they were going out of style. And obviously the Cavs were points challenged at times last night. Why do you think that happened?
Well, I think when you start to look at what Steve Kerr did is Bogut only played 15 minutes, Festus Ezeli only 10 minutes, and Varejao only 3. So they basically played small ball, Rich. And Tyronn Lue looked to say, hey, can Channing Frye guard some of these guys off the dribble? That's not his strong suit, is knocking down threes. I think it also comes down to when you start looking at LeBron James and also Kevin Love, and a lot of times those switching smaller guys on Kevin Love, and then just being LeBron James. Both those guys combined just had 5 free throw attempts. That can't happen if they want to win this series.
But it could be confusing to a lot of people, Steve, that why must the Cavs match up with the Warriors small ball, but the Thunder didn't care about that and forced the Warriors to try and match up with their big, long, tall, lanky guys that were smothering the passing lanes as well as the three-point arc?
I think totally different bigs. Rich, from the Cavs bigs, you look at Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, Channing Frye. Those three guys, give Tristan Thompson some credit. Athletically, he can withstand and, play some guys off the dribble. But Kevin Love and Channing Frye have a hard time. And then I think if you're not going to dominate them on the glass and rebound, then sometimes the Golden State Warriors to force you into playing small ball. I mean, you got to look at Timothy Mozgov. He had a pretty successful finals run last year without those guys being in. Tyronn Lue might have to look to go into a guy like that, Mozgov, that's so big, no matter what, when he catches it, he has the advantage.
So basically, Steve Smith, what you're saying is Game 1 has shown what we saw last year in the finals, even without Love and Kyrie Irving, that the Cavs have some serious matchup problems on their hands right now.
Yeah, they do. And I think it's still just Game 1, Rich. I think it comes down to the Cleveland Cavaliers have to get back to playing their basketball. I thought they got back to not moving the basketball late in the regular season throughout the playoffs. The ball just hopped around. Yesterday, a lot of dribbling, a lot of standing. And it's okay. You have a guy like Steph Curry. If you watch Rich, I mean, he might go through his dribbling act, but there's guys cutting, there's guys getting layups, and not a lot of guys standing, even when guys have the basketball in the post or in isolation. For the Cavs, it was just the opposite. When they got crunch time, they went back to isolation basketball and other 4 guys standing and watching.
So what does Tyronn Lue do? An adjustment?
Well, I think for him is he has to go back and look at the film and look at guys. If you don't have the basketball, you have to make a play, whether you're going to set a pick and get these guys some kind of spacing. And spacing doesn't mean just stand there. You got to be a threat when you don't have the basketball. And then also for them is they got to make some shots. And I think Kyrie Irving has to set the tone. As a great player he is, once you get in the paint, you got to have more than 4 assists. For him, 7 for 22 is not going to get it. Yes, take 22 shots if you're rolling, but you weren't rolling for 7 for 22. And I think LeBron James, even though he put up some monster numbers close to triple-double, for me it's about the free throw attempts for him. He has to dominate the game, get to the line.
Steve Smith joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. You can see him on NBA TV's on-site NBA Finals pre- and post-game coverage throughout the series. All right, so let's get to the Dellavedova Iguodala moment. Was Dellavedova going for the ball or the plural of that word?
Rich, I don't think so. And obviously, you look bad, and obviously we replay and we get a chance to isolate the play. He was coming from behind, trying to make a foul, in my opinion. And then obviously we go back again, like you said, another play below the belt that we're talking about. I think the history of Dellavedova is one that really upset Andre Iguodala and also had people looking at it. But I thought it was just a hard foul for him. A great basketball play to stop the momentum. It's just unfortunately he had a pretty good aim.
Well, I mean, it did actually, may have stopped the momentum of the play. But we're all looking at this today in the media and last night on Twitter and last night first blush conversations as the momentum changer for the entire game, Steve.
It did. It did, and I think Andre Iguodala, give him a lot of credit. He came out and played. I mean, from that moment on, he had a fantastic game. He started to knock down shots, and you look at end up with 12 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, but also having the task of guarding LeBron James a lot of those minutes. And I thought those guys started to move the basketball even more. It seemed like it lit a fire under them, and they'd even started to play well without the Splash Brothers.
All right, so now the Spartan. Let's talk about the Spartan, Steve. Now that I certainly have you on the phone right here. What's with the high kicks from Draymond Green? Last night we saw another one, and it is part of his game. I mean, we've seen it before. It's not like he's doing this out of the blue. It's part of his style. We saw another high kick. It hit Kyrie Irving in the chest last night. There was no call. What is this normal? Steve,
a lot of guys used to flail, Rich, when I played, but you said it best. It's a part of his game. I mean, it's a part of now guys selling the fouls, selling plays, trying to draw fouls. And, yes, Draymond's one of those guys, if you see throughout the course of his career, even before we got to this playoffs, he's a guy that, obviously flails, kicks. Reggie Miller was a guy that flailed his arms when you fouled him. So definitely guys try to get the attention of the referee, but I think right now we have an isolation kick cam for Draymond Green now that everybody's going to watch whatever he does. And yes, some of those kicks, obviously to Steven Adams, and then yesterday was to Kyrie Irving. I didn't think Kyrie Irving's yesterday was something they did on purpose. I just think that's the way he plays.
So then you're the perfect person to ask this. Do you think, because a lot of people think Draymond plays angry and he's got a scowl on his face, do you think Draymond Green is an angry person because he's wearing Michigan colors as a professional every single night, Steve? Do you think that's it?
Hey, Rich, I love that. He might be, but one thing about him is what I loved is he got back to being Draymond Green, and obviously I think the games after the kick, 4 and 5, he kind of played a little tentative. Yesterday he kind of played, but he's been smart. You can see not a lot of chatter with the referees, but he got back to playing a passionate game, and then the numbers showed. I mean, guys putting up 16, 11, 7, 4 steals and a block, and I say he can fault the Splash Brother. He didn't get a triple-double because those guys couldn't make a shot. He easily could have had a triple-double yesterday.
I was not looking for you to pivot to actual professional analysis after that question, Steve. You realize that, right?
Well, Michigan is one of those schools that we just don't talk about anymore.
You just turned to I asked for that one. I did ask for that answer. I went back to the well, and it deserved that answer. I understand. But he is wearing, maize and blue every night as a professional. I mean, they can call it gold.
But, we always say in Spartan country, you mix those two colors, Rich. You know what color you get, blue and gold. If you mix them, you get green. So it's okay. It's okay for right now.
We're doing primary colors. I get it. All right. What'd you glean from Iverson sitting down with him for this special, Steve?
Fantastic. A lot of transparency. And I think that covering him and us watching him over the years, he's always given us that transparency. But what I love is I got a chance to dive in a little bit of why he chose Georgetown. John Thompson, Larry Brown, those guys is just speaking so highly of him. And what you love about Allen Iverson, when you got in between that lines, there was no doubt that he gave everything and he left it out there. I mean, there's some phenomenal numbers you talk about from AI, from averaging 26 points over his career, I think close to 30 in playoff career numbers. But I was looking, Rich, at the minutes he played. I mean, there was one playoff series where he averaged 47.6 minutes. Here's a guy at 6 feet, 165 pounds, left it out there every play, competed, and wasn't a lot of threes. This is AI challenging bigs. And, in that era where there was a lot of hard fouls, there wasn't a lot of flagrant ones and flagrant twos. Guys could hard foul you. He was not scared. And then we change and look at AI off the court. And I asked him the question, you were a culture icon, and he answers, yes. I mean, that's the confidence of AI. Well, we had a player that's a Hall of Fame player, and I wouldn't say he wouldn't conform. He just wanted to be himself, and he's continued to be himself. So I love the interview, and I love to get a chance to, pick his brain for a little bit. I wish we had 4 or 5 more hours to get a chance to learn more about AI, because he's one of those interviewers that when you get a chance to talk to him, Rich, he's going to give you the true blue answer and not sugarcoat it or go around it.
And it's interesting. He's going into the hall with Izzo, with Tom Izzo.
It is. I mean,
the two
unbelievable
of them
class.
For you.
You start talking about Yao Ming and Shaq and Tom Izzo and AI. So I'm looking forward to getting a chance to be at that ceremony.
And I'm happy for Izzo too. He's one of the nicest people I've ever come across. Obviously I'm tight with Mariucci, his best man at his wedding and one of his best friends in life, and it's neat to see that Tom Izzo gets the highest honor that he deserves. Steve.
Yeah, you're totally right, Rich. And one thing about Tom, you know this, Rich. You love him. Off the court, you love him. But if you play for him, Rich, him and Judd, they got a little. Both of those guys' crews are a little loose. So it's a different when you're playing for him.
Yeah, and last one for you, Steve. You played in the Olympics. You got an Olympic medal. To your credit, a gold in Sydney. If you were a player now, with the Zika virus and everything that's going on, that's being discussed in Rio, would you go, Steve?
You know what, I would, Rich. I think the one thing is you want to do your homework, and I think obviously, people has to, and guys get a chance to cover, even us as the media. But passing up that opportunity, and obviously it's a tough call, but hopefully they can find some kind of way where they can resolve this. But, would love to play in another Olympics. It was a highlight of my career. I think I definitely would still go, Rich.
Steve, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing your Iverson special on NBA TV Monday night at 8 and catch you pre- and post-game throughout the series on NBA TV. Thanks for joining.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it. That's Steve Smith right here.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.